What's good, my boy? Recently decided to go ahead and take the time and go through this tedious activity of organizing every screw, nail, fastener, and piece of hardware in this shop, which is going to be pretty much an all-day endeavor, but I'm all for it, and I'm having a pretty good time doing it. But realistically, I wanted to get on here and talk a little bit more about religion. I've really just, since I've opened up to this concept, fully opened up to this concept, and not just in the approach of like, oh, take it symbolically, metaphorically, blah, 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 this whole Peterson approach, which I think is great, and his methodology and various other people in his field's methodology of introducing people to theism in this line of thinking, this Carl Jung approach that he was talking about back in the 50s, is a very good thing. I feel like we've all heard this sentiment, and this is kind of the way I think about this. We've all heard this sentiment with various things of like, I don't know anybody who would regret losing weight. I don't know anybody who, after they went to the gym for a period of time, said they regretted doing it. I don't know. We hear these sentiments spanning across multiple different fields of, I don't know anybody who would regret doing this. I've never heard of anybody regret doing this. And for me, I understand all too well the idea of the struggle with attaching knowledge and defeating logic and actually submitting to a faith. This is what you're surrendering whenever you choose a religion such as Christianity. Christ is asking you to surrender this analytical reasoning into an absolute faith. That is, in essence, what it is. You're not surrendering or sacrificing anything physical. It's all up in here. But as long as, and this is my belief here, as long as you make the sentiment, I don't care what you do what you want with your life. But this is just personal thought here. I don't know anybody, as long as you don't take this in like a super hardcore evangelist approach, or like a Jehovah's Witness, or like you start some commune cult where everybody's doing weird practices that kind of lose the faith. But if you take it in the sense of a completely individualistic approach where it's only you and you dealing with this, you trying to submit to it yourself without a church influence, I really could say if anybody did this, I don't know who would regret it. Atheist, whatever. I mean, this is my main argument here, and this is not an original idea by any means, but this is something that I really want to echo. We all are very aware that we live in this attention economy. Everything is buying for our attention. And I know so many nights where I get all my work done and I would go inside and I would just start sifting through these things. Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, this opinion, this philosophy, this debate, atheist debate, this debate, blah, 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 everything buying, this person's humor, here's a Joe Rogan clip, here's a Kill Tony clip, here's this. Thousands of different genres of media attacking you at once. And this is without social media. Like I've literally been for the past 6 months, 4 to 6 months now, without any TikTok, Instagram, any of these social medias on my phone, and I never used the Shorts feature on the YouTube app. This is just strictly with YouTube videos. The mind is insane the way, the tricks that it can play on us. And many a night I've gone to bed and woken, or I've interrupted my sleep because I just get in these perpetual cycles of, oh my God, this is so interesting. I have to know about it right now. And sometimes it feels good. Sometimes you really learn something. Sometimes it actually works out in a positive way. But almost entirely, I would say 95% of the time, it just feels like an overwhelm. It feels like an exhausting task just in something that was supposed to be your downtime or supposed to be your winding down time, and you got off of work, you got your free time, and your free time is spent doing these things. Now, by no means am I against a phone or technology. I know lots of traditionalists, especially traditional Christians, like to make arguments against technology and say how bad it is, say that calculators made us stupid, say that autocorrect made us terrible writers. They say that all this abundance of opinions and information kills original ideas, which to some extent these claims have merit. But I absolutely love technology. If it wasn't for technology, I wouldn't have found a true angle to approach Christianity with that inevitably led me to accepting it. I wouldn't have found certain things that I like doing, tactile functions that I like doing in life, hobbies, not to make this convoluted. Find hobbies in life that I actually enjoy. And it all came out of social media and the ability to access information that would have taken you, like I say many a time in my videos, 50 plus years to get, and you get it in 5 minutes, is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But the point still stands. Everything is vying for your attention. Who cares about Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? I don't care. Who cares about these Christian debates against Muslims on school campuses? It's an endless thing that's been going on for 1,000 plus years. I mean, the level of predatory nature in this attention economy is crazy. You have the preachers, the positive people, the good Christians sitting there calculating this thumbnail with colors and in this Photoshop mastery to pull your attention in. Once they got that attention in, it's literally insane. It's just a cesspool. It's just arguments that are repeated time and time and time again that get us nowhere. They don't deepen our faith. All they allow us is more division, more ability to say, no, you're wrong and I'm right. Who cares? That's why I'm so into this individual approach to this absolute personal relationship with God. And it's absurd to me, the fact that this is the approach that interests so many people into theology, is this debate side of things, of who's wrong and who's right. Why does it matter? Don't you have your beliefs? Why do you need to constantly defend your beliefs against other people? Okay, yeah, these people are they're so acquainted with the Scripture that they almost can come up with a justification for these outlandish actions with a Scripture on the cuff. And that's just that's a thing in its own. But this isn't me here to talk about morality or dispel a belief or another. It's just simply to explain or to argue for how ingrained something like Christianity is in our culture. I mean, it is the essence. It is the rock from, I say this over and over again, from the government, where it was founded, our money, our sayings, our everything, our music. I mean, even something as certain Christians do not like this band, System of a Down. One of their most popular song is "Why Have You Forsaken Me?" Literally verbatim out of the Bible. So many songs, Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, biblical lyrics, so all spanning across time. And I know for a lot of atheists in general, it's not, their problem with religion is not the fact that, it's merely just the fact that they struggle with this knowledge thing again. They don't want to feel dumb. That's why you see people like Jordan Peterson have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, is because, again, it is a personal thing. I'm preaching this here, that it is a personal relationship. But they feel like they'll get nowhere because their peers will see them as dumb. You got people like Bill Maher who make a whole career, or George Carlin making a whole career off of just mocking things that people like and that help them function. And that's what this comes down to. Whether or not you believe what you believe, it's just a solid fact that religion any religion, it simplifies things down to a law and order aspect, to a good and evil aspect, takes all the convoluted things out of these things that are pulling you, this confusion that so many people feel nowadays from all of this things buying for your attention, buying for your privacy, buying for your information, back and forth, back and forth. It dumbs that, I wouldn't say dumb, that's not the word I'm trying to say, but in essence, it simplifies it down. And the fact that people perceive these actual like professional professors, like literal college professors at Harvard, like Jordan Peterson, as much as you hate him, think he's a grifter, think he's this, the guy has proven that he has some brains in his head. And the mere fact that someone like that was 100% atheist can fall into this approach and see how these things actually benefit, it dismisses the notion that it's just mind control for the masses right there. That's the biggest argument. You see these Joe Rogan people, and they're so against the idea of accepting faith. And it all comes down to, all of this comes down to spicing life up. I mean, in essence, if I want to give you an argument with a 1 foot in, 1 foot out approach, that's my argument. Spicing life up. Life is so boring whenever you're just reading old philosophers time and time again. Yes, Plato with the feather thing, he's a beautiful mind. Yes, Nietzsche has beautiful thoughts as well. It's all real neat, real cool, but it gets boring real quick. I need a little magic. I need a little spice. And I really feel lucky by the grace of God that out of nowhere, out of a literal blind spot, it has been bestowed upon me. It has just been a gift. This is truly a gift, because it's like the lens I see the world is from this rock that I have now, this rock of faith. And now I'm free to explore these different areas without falling, because again, I'm young, I'm especially naive. As human beings, we are naive, but I'm younger and I'm especially naive, so it is a very, very difficult landscape to navigate. Extremely difficult out here. If you're going to, well, it's on the tripod, but I was going to show my phone. If you're going to take the objection to not be like some Walden's Cabin, Ted Kaczynski person, where you completely shut off and object from it entirely, but you're going to try to live in harmony with this technology, I really argue that religion is this lens, is this safeguard for you to navigate this with. I mean, I know I'm going to ostracize a lot of my, well, I don't really even have that many followers, to be honest, but the ones that are here that might feel like I'm getting extremely preachy on them, so be it. I mean, I know it's true because day by day it just ingrains itself deeper and deeper. The more I read, the more I discover. I mean, I got into this through a cult. I got into this through Carl Jung and this like idea of like, okay, these like respected minds are saying there's more to this than chemicals in my brain. I really like this one sentiment from this guy. Although I feel like he loses the message, he says some crazy things. He's a comedian, this Zerka guy. He says this funny thing where it's like you're telling me everything is brain chemicals, like grief and love and these emotions that feel so pure and so non-comparable to anything else. Whenever you feel true grief from someone you love dearly, you cannot achieve these feelings through highs and lows with drugs. It just does not happen. You cannot achieve these levels with the actual chemicals, with actually synthetically pumping these dopamine. Like, I'm not a disbeliever in science or in chemicals or in dopamine or in evolution. So many people like to say that these things contradict each other, but there's one guy that I'd recommend, this John Lennox, and again, I have to silence thoughts in my brain that try to tell me, don't talk about this person, because when you navigate this online space, there's people that hate everything. There's people that have an objection to literally everything. Everything. I've made the correlation that people might not like this type of screw or this brand of this or this color of this. Everything is so opinionated nowadays. And if you're like me and you're trying to navigate this space, it's super easy to, I wouldn't say it's super easy, but it's hard not to like start to agree with something that you see over and over and over makes sense. And that's what this whole surrendering is it's kind of like, all right, I surrender all this confusion based off of knowledge and logic because all these people are making logical claims and are appealing to my knowledge, if you will. But to avoid being literally ripped apart, per se, to say metaphorically, just ripped apart by all these things, where you have the approach of you believe in nothing and stand for nothing, or you believe in nothing and you will fall for anything, the Malcolm X thing. That's what it feels like. Your brain feels like it's being pulled in 1,000 directions. And I've never felt more content in my life. I don't feel... Some of these people take it in, like, again, the extreme evangelical approach. And I guess in some ways, me changing my content from talking about self-improvement and building to kind of talking about Christianity as a whole in this content these past couple days. If you dislike this, I see a couple people drop comments down. No, dude, I was down this path and you're wrong, and you got to look up this person. He's the truth. I've been through such deep conspiracy rabbit holes where it is literally insane. I mean, I'm talking about I'm listening to people that are talking about all the Epstein stuff. They're talking about the skull and bones, the Masons, the this, the that. They're talking about, no, dude, the aliens aren't real. Flat Earth is flat. That's the real whoopang. I don't give a shit about any of these things. I don't care about any of these conspiracies. All I care about is deepening my relationship with Christianity. All of these, no, it's the aliens. No, it's the mushrooms. No, it's this. I don't care. I've taken enough mushrooms, LSD, all of the psychedelics combined to give me a real life experience example to believe in some sort of divine power. I've taken enough of these things to know what they're about. I mean, that's literally what I spent most of my teenage years doing, and that's what sent me down this path of nihilism and confusion. Because it's like, well, now you start to take apart the Bible whenever you're this teenager doing all these drugs, experimenting, and then you're like, well, something exists. Then you find this Joe Rogan shit. And it's like, well, this is the reason, and this is this, and blah, 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 blah. And he can say whatever he wants. I don't want to, again, my whole approach is I'm trying my best to talk completely off of personal experience, off of what I believe. And it just, for me, is not going to come through conspiracies. It's interesting to view and deepen my faith by researching certain occult topics, see how they all correlate, see this and that, but I'm just uninterested in people trying to convince me and change my mind. My mind has changed. My mind is concrete now with Christ. I mean, I'm just thinking about this from the outside perspective, and I really must sound crazy, but that is the faith that so many people long for. That's what I longed for. I didn't understand. I went to a Catholic church. I went to certain Baptist churches, and it drew me further away from faith because it just looked like it looked like a play. It looked like a fake ritual play, and that's in essence, there's merit to that because that deepens certain people's faith. But for me, it didn't. It just felt like I was playing make-believe. But this this is why I encourage people to listen to Jordan Peterson if they're considering this, is because he opens you up to the idea of combining it with knowledge and logic. But at some point, you do have to say, I don't care, bro. Okay, this all makes sense. So I'm gonna go devoid of knowledge. That's why I disagree with a lot of these debate bros, because it just seems preposterous to me. It's like, come on, bro. Like, I believe in this wholeheartedly, but you got to imagine the outside looking in. We don't have concrete evidence. I have my faith. That is what I have. Okay? in the Bible even, it talks about divine, like God talking to you. It's not a actual real human voice you hear. It is through your intuition. And through your intuition, you have the traditional devil and angel on your shoulder, Jesus and the devil on your shoulder, that your intuition is either going to be telling you good things or bad things. And all we have is the Scripture, as well as each other as Christians, to guide each other towards making the right decisions in whenever it comes to morality. But, again, I'll probably continue to make these videos because I'm really enjoying it. It really seems to be deepening my faith. Each time I, especially like this, off the cuff, try to describe how I'm feeling and how I'm thinking when it comes to this, I usually just nestle myself deeper and deeper into it. And again, to the people that think that we're completely delusional and that it's a waste of time and that it narrows your mind, I'll repeat the thing I just said. It doesn't narrow your mind. It's simply a pair of sunglasses to look at the world through. It is simply a rock to build your house upon. The house can be built out of any sort of bricks and any sort of knowledge, anything you can try to think of, but you're going about it with this absolute home to come back to, if that makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, I ain't trying to convince nobody of nothing. This is really just a whole approach of like you teach, you learn more through teaching. So I'm trying to teach to myself, because possibility I don't even upload this video. Most likely I will. But it's just, I literally have never felt better. And I can identify wholeheartedly that it's not because I'm delusional or because it's a phase that's going to pass. Like, I've literally never felt these feelings before. It's not like some sort of absolute euphoria or like you would on like a drug like acid. You take acid, it makes you like overwhelmed with joy where you like don't even know why you're laughing or why you're happy. No, I know wholeheartedly why I feel this way. And I've explained why. I just feel content with everything, with most things. Not to the point where I'm going to stop doing things, but it gives me more motivation to pursue things because no longer am I doing it selfishly for myself. And I feel like a lot of people get this kind of synthetically through having kids. I've heard the sentiment that from atheists and non-believers and agnostic people, they're like, oh, have kids, and then you have something more important than you, and it becomes your motivation and your center point and guides you to keep moving forward. But I would say that while that's a good sentiment, it still is not something as pure as the divine through believing in your Creator, Jesus Christ. It's still not that pure because the human mind, if it's still completely in a selfish approach with its own little bubble, its own little circle, you'll start to do weird things that I see people do. Like the Bible preaches unity, it preaches non-judgment. I've seen people sit there and have a kid, and their kid can do no wrong. Their kid can sit there and mess with other kids and do these things, and they'll defend them till the cows come home. That is not something divine better than you. That is still you believe in your creation more than anything. And that's absolutely what this is not. It is you surrendering what you are, what you think, your knowledge, everything to God. Now, I said in my last couple videos, the next ain't going to be religious. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to start becoming a purely religious channel. If I want to talk about occult stuff, if I want to talk about building something, if I want to talk about making music, if I want to talk about this or that, I'm going to talk about it. Also, I don't want to frame this in the light. I believe through faith that I'm right here. But I don't want to frame this in the light that I'm downing anybody's beliefs or opinions or whatever. I feel like this is really where a lot of Christian people who make content about this online go wrong. I see so many people make so many absolute statements that aren't even based off of the faith. Like, for instance, I'll really tie back into this John Zerka dude. I like his message that he's pulling people towards Christ, but he says such weird things. Like, I know he's supposed to be a comedian and it's supposed to be satire and comedy, but like, he'll straight up say, don't listen to music. Music pulls on your emotions. It's not a masculine thing to do. It's a blah, blah, blah. And it's funny. Like, I kind of laughed whenever I heard him say this. But think about how many people that songs of faith have brought them to religion, be it Christian songs, Jewish songs, any of these different hymns. They bring it to it, creates a sense of community to sit with like-minded people and sit there and sing about your love. I've also heard them say that creating art is gay, and it's like, that is what art in the essence is. That's the way I view creation, is it's me constantly offering up tributes to God. That's why I'm creating. I'm not creating just for the satisfaction of being done with it and being like, it's a never-ending effort for me to constantly being like, hey, look at this. You see these periods in history where this was their approach to this, and they created the most beautiful works of art of all time. The most progress in humanity was made. So on and so forth. Anyway, boys, I could go on and on and on ad nauseum about this, and as much as I would like to, obviously, I haven't organized many screws while I've been recording this video. So I'm going to get back to organizing these screws, getting this stuff done, and getting some work done in this shop. I'm asking God, I'm trying to see the balance in these videos to see how I can kind of make all this mesh together. Make the building, make the videos, my message, make all of it kind of correlate together. And that's the thing I'm kind of struggling with, and I'm trying to seek answers for right now. So anyway, boys, Christ is King, and have a good one.